Multiplayer games are always in a constant state of flux. Anything from core gameplay changes to minor number adjustments are normal and both play a role in keeping the delicate balance of a competitive game as reasonable as possible. In For Honor's most recent patch, version 1.03, there were several changes made to the Valkyrie, a character I had some experience with. Today we're going to dust her off and see how the changes affect her. For those who haven't seen the changes, there's a link to the patch notes in the description and on the screen now. The gist of it is, she's been given more options to link skills together, and her recovery times for some attacks have been slightly reduced. Now let's get started. And here we go. The first thing we're going to look at is a 1 versus 1 duel against an Orochi. This is a very controlled environment here. There's no gear, there's no feats. Unlike the Dominion game modes, Elimination and Skirmish, everything is going to be a relatively level playing field. It's going to come down to who is the better fighter. So let's get right into it. Round 1, best of 5. Boom, baby, boom. Now, the thing I always like about duels, there's always this little feeling out process at the beginning of a match. You never know exactly what your opponent's going to do. The Orochi is going to feint his Storm Rush, and he's going to try and capitalize on that with a guard break, and then he's going to go for the Storm Rush again. My goodness, a lot is happening on screen at the moment. I can't even talk fast enough to explain. Going to land a parry and then start going into some light attacks, but my opponent is very proficient at blocking, deflecting, using all the tools in his arsenal, and he apparently likes to feint his Storm Rush, and that's going to be something I have to watch out for. So already we're starting to learn the patterns of one another, and he's going to throw out another Storm Rush, but I am going to block that one with Shield Tackle. That ability activates the full block stance on your retreat, and then you can just charge back in and get a nice little bit of damage. But my opponent is very proficient at landing deflects, and apparently I'm very proficient at landing parries in this instance. Looks like I'm getting him in a bit of a wombo combo. It's not necessarily a real thing. Going to toss him a bit, and now he's going to block. He's seen my moves. He knows what I'm going to do. I was a bit too predictable in that situation, and to a certain degree so was he. He's out of stamina now. He's going to get hit with the guard break, and then he's going to get finished off with a heavy attack. Wow. Okay, that was a lot, but we're going to take a look at that last encounter one more time. Landing the parry off of the Storm Rush, and then we're going to follow that up with a guard break, heavy attack, and then shield crush. That's a pretty standard maneuver, but what isn't standard is following up again with a heavy attack. That's not a guaranteed move. He didn't know exactly what I was going to do, so I was able to capitalize on that. Now, I could have finished the fight there, but I decided to do some flashy stuff, tossing him around a little bit, and he is going to block my attack, dodge out of the way of my shield crush, and now I'm out of stamina. He did try to land a guard break, but I'm going to fortunately get the tech and counter it. He's going to come in with another Storm Rush, just trying to be a little bit greedy, trying to finish me off, and now he's out of stamina, and you know how the rest goes. Going to get that execution. Now, we're going to let this play out because I want to take a moment to appreciate just how beautiful the executions in For Honor look. They're so bloody, they're so brutal. It's on par with Mortal Kombat. I mean, you're not getting the same level of ripping people's spines out, but you're getting a lot of decapitations. You're getting people's faces stabbed, getting backs chopped off. A whole bunch of craziness goes on in For Honor, and it looks really good. This is a fantastic looking game, but anyway, I'm not going to sing them praises too much more because the round is about to begin. Let's get into it. Round 2 out of 5. Let's see if we can make something happen again. At this point, the feeling out process is officially over. We both know we're competent players, but it's going to come down to who has the better mix-up game, who has the ability to vary their strategy a little bit. He's going to throw out a fake Storm Rush once again, and that is going to catch me off guard, but nothing is going to come of it. I'm going to try and tackle him, but that is not going to yield anything for me. I'm taking a lot of punishment here. I think the Orochi's got in my head a little bit. I don't really know what he's trying to do. I'm throwing out attacks, but he knows that I'm not really on my feint game today. I'm not trying to, confuse him. I'm just going straight for the face, and he is confidently dodging my attacks because of that. So he's pretty much got this round in the bag. There's not really anything I'm foreseeing good coming out of this. No, he's just going to finish me off with a very quick top light attack. That nice little double tap to pew pew, just a little pew pew, and it's just done. So that was a pretty embarrassing round, I'm not going to lie. Was not on my game that time, but that's just an example of what can happen when you understand what your opponent is doing and you just get in their head and you completely trump them. You know, the only way you can really win in For Honor is by using the full roster of abilities that your character has. When you don't do that, you become predictable. And it looks like we're going for a different strategy this time. We're going to use that sweeping attack, and that is definitely something we haven't seen in the first 2 rounds. But I've seen the Storm Rush. He's going to use it twice in a row. I've seen that attack a number of times. I know how to parry it. I know how to avoid it, and it is not going to get my opponent anything good. Now, at this point, it's just a matter of getting a few more attacks, and it looks like that is going to happen. Gonna land that successful parry, gonna land another successful parry, and now it is just a matter of getting that beautiful looking execution finish once again. So wow, that was a stark difference from the second round. It looks like varying up the strategy did have a good result, and that's the cool thing about the Valkyrie. She has so many tools under her belt that you can really go every single round with a slightly different strategy, and that's definitely something that will give you an advantage over some of the simpler characters like the Orochi. He's only going to do a couple of different moves, and it's always going to be those couple of moves for the most part. And now both of us are actually starting to get on our feint game, because we're realizing that we're going to have to take out all the stops if we want to walk away with the victory. And my opponent, the Orochi, is going back to faking out that Storm Rush because he knows I can parry it. We're off to a bit of a conservative start, though, just getting some nice little poke damage. Going to throw out the zone attack. The first hit is going to connect. The second hit is going to get deflected, so the Orochi going to get some nice damage. He's going to fake out the Storm Rush once again, but I'm going to follow it up with a shield tackle. So even though he faked it, he's still going to get a little bit of punishment from that. Now he's throwing out his zone attack as well, so I'm getting punishment from that. We're on an even playing field. We both have 2 segments of health remaining. I'm going to charge in with that jumping attack. Going to do a nice little bit of damage. He's faking out the Storm Rush again, and that is going to cause me to take some serious damage, and then he's going to finish me off with a very quick zone attack. Hardly had any time to react to that. That round could have really gone either way, but it did not go in my favor. So we're at the final round at this point. I think it's only natural that we start playing some epic music for this one, right? So let's see who is going to come out on top. Is it going to be the Orochi, the class that everybody knows is powerful, or is it going to be the Valkyrie, a story that was once on top, then she fell to the bottom, and now she's somewhere in the middle again? We're going to land a successful parry, follow it up with a nice little light attack. Going to land another successful parry, following it up with a light attack again. Going to try and get a little greedy with the guard break, and then I'm going to get punished for it. My opponent is out of stamina, so I'm going to want to go on the offensive. He's trying to dodge me, but that is ultimately going to get him punished, and now I am following up with a very relentless assault, and my opponent is trying to be relentless as well with his Storm Rush, but that is not going to yield anything good. Not going to finish it with an execution, but who the hell cares? Sometimes you just got to take the victory where you can get it. Man, that was an aggressive round. Before we close out completely, we're going to take a look at one more round from a different match. This time it is Valkyrie versus Peacekeeper. I think we all have some ill words to say about the Peacekeeper. She's got some very fast light attacks, so hopefully we'll be able to guard against that as best as possible. We're jumping into round 2 out of 5, so the feeling out process is over. We both know how the other fights, so let's see if we can make some magic happen here. I'm going to start off a little aggressively running towards that bridge, and the Peacekeeper is going to use her charging attack, a very easy to block, easy to parry maneuver, but I'm not going to land the parry. I am going to get a guard break, but I'm going to spare my opponent the embarrassment of falling to the ledge at maximum health. You know, sometimes you gotta wonder if the person is being honorable, or are they thinking to themselves, I've got more tricks up my sleeve that I want to try. This fight isn't over yet. You always gotta wonder that. But we're back in a neutral position. This is that moment where you gotta find out when is the right time to open up, but that definitely wasn't the right time for the Peacekeeper. She tried her lunging attack and got severely punished by the deflect into the bleeding attack that the Valkyrie has. And now she's gonna get parried by the ledge, and she is going to get headbutted to her doom. So it definitely seemed like there was more that I wanted to try. I am not afraid of knocking people off ledges. I have no shame in my game. So there you go. Overall, the changes that were made to the Valkyrie make her feel a lot more fluid. They give her the ability to flow and be a hybrid character, so she can really decide, do I want to be defensive or do I want to be relentless in my attack? And now when she is relentless in her offense, she doesn't get punished as severely because of her slightly reduced recovery times. The changes that they made, they feel really good to me. I only got Valkyrie to Reputation 1 before the changes, but you know, hey, that's a decent amount of time to feel out the character. That's like 3 hours or something. But either way, the name of the game is For Honor. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.